There we are. Lord, I have been running all day long today. I hope you guys are doing well this evening. My name is Mother De La Morte, and I am your host for the Horror Gallery. It does look like we've got quite a few people in here, so I'm going to go ahead and run through the comments real quick, and then we're going to get into this. I think you guys will enjoy it. I know a lot of our supporters enjoyed the one that we did about the Pacific Coast Trail. So I think that you will like this. It's kind of in the same tone as that. So let's see what's going on in the comments real quick, and then we'll get to it. Don't have a whole lot of housekeeping today. All right, let's see. So we have Root Speed Red in the house. Hello, hello, hello. And then we have Arcana. She says, hey. All right. And guys, look, we do have with the streaming software that we have, it doesn't really mesh well in the comment sections as far as Rumble and X. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. If you leave a comment, I will definitely go back in there after the show and answer any questions or what have you on that. So I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, it's just the streaming software that we use. Hopefully, eventually, it will mesh better. So let's see. We've got Root Speed Red, and they are shopping for snacks. Hey, that is right up my alley. I could deal with a couple of snacks right now, and I know you guys pick out some good ones, so that's cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this, and then I'll stop periodically and go over like some of the comments and things like that. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about, and I know probably quite a few of you guys out there are at least somewhat familiar with the case or the mysterious disappearance of Kenny Veach and his hunt for the M cave. So in 2014, A YouTuber named Kenny Veach, aged 47, ventured into the Mojave Desert near Nevada's Nellis Air Force Base to investigate an intriguing M-shaped cave that he stated he had previously found. Now, on November 10th of 2014, during his solo exploration, Beach disappeared without a trace. Today, no one knows what might have happened to Kenny, but his disappearance has sparked a number of bone-chilling conspiracy theories over the years, especially considering that this area is approximately, uh, the proximity is very close to Area 51. Now, Kenny Veach himself, he was born in 1967. Some information says 1966 in Las Vegas, and became well known through his YouTube persona by the name of Snakebit McGee. Uh, in these YouTubes that he did, he shared his passion for hiking. His channel featured his extensive solo treks across rugged landscape of Nevada and California, showcasing his interest for thrilling explorations. Now, Veach had a unique habit of gathering various objects during his journey, such as animal bones, which he proudly displayed as part of his home decor. Just before he vanished, Kenny Veach had stepped away from his role as a service technician at a coffee company, inspiring to reinvent himself as an inventor. And you can find a lot of his. I think there's quite a few. Excuse me. On YouTube of like some of his inventions, like the new and improved toilet paper holder and some different things like that. I mean, he was genuinely a genuine person, and he seemed like he just was a very caring person. But you can find those on YouTube. Now, amongst, like I said, his creations was an enhanced design for a toilet paper holder, which he pitched to the television program Shark Tank. Simultaneously, Veach put his house on the market with a peculiar stipulation. The purchaser must employ him as the property's caretaker and permit him to maintain his unique decorative flair. So basically, if you look at the ad he put in there, he was pretty much selling himself with the house. Which, I mean, hey, if it would appeal to somebody, but he wanted to stay on at the property, and really kind of what was going on at this time, um, because he had stepped away from his full time job, the what money he had put aside was starting to get slim. And they did say, he was starting to go through some of like depressive, stages and things like that. So he had decided to put his house up for sale and sell himself right along with it. But regrettably, his unconventional sale conditions really didn't attract many buyers. However, Veach was most passionate about solo hiking across the Mojave and Great Basin deserts. He would spend days camping with only the essentials, foregoing any navigation aids like GPS, compasses, or maps. Now, for those of you that are tuning in tonight, and all the discussions that we had when we were talking about the disappearances on the Pacific Crest Trail, these things are really, I mean, I get the fact that he was an experienced hiker. I mean, he had been doing this from a very, very young age, as far as hiking in the deserts and things along those lines. So his body, yes, it was acclimated to that terrain and those conditions. But at the same time, guys, if you're gonna go hiking for any long period of time, you really need, especially out in the wilds like this, where there is sparse um, like population or anything like that, take your GPS. Let people know where you're going. Take a compass. Take maps. Just be smart. Now, while his girlfriend Sharon Pilgrim would sometimes accompany him on these treks, he did often venture out by himself. He enjoyed. He was kind of a loner. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of this area, if you're not familiar with the Mojave, excuse me. Nellis Air Force Base is nearby. It's situated in Nevada. It is one of the United States Air Force's most significant and versatile installations, known for hosting advanced combat training, exercises like Red Flag and Green Flag West. These exercises provide realistic combat training involving U.S. and allied nations as far as Air Force, focusing on enhancing combat readiness and effectiveness with both airspace and cyberspace domains. Located just outside of Las Vegas, Nellis also encompasses the Nevada Test and Training Range, also known as NTTR, which includes a vast area of military operations and training. Now, a lot of these areas were like old, like if you see those old atomic bomb tests, like where they do the houses and the nuclear family, mannequins that are sitting there, and they pretty much just get obliterated. A lot of that was going on kind of in this area back during that time. Now, Nellis has a rich history uh, evolving from a simple airstrip in the 1940s to a central hub for Air Force weapons testing, advanced tactic development, and the home of the USAF Warfare Center. Area 51, which is pretty much part of Nellis, is officially part of the Nevada Test and Training Range, but often spoken of separately due to its secretive nature. It lies within the NTTR, north of Las Vegas. This area became synonymous with secrecy and UFO conspiracy theories, largely because it was here that the U.S. government tested spy planes like the U-2, the SR-71 Blackbird, and the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. Its remote location and restricted airspace made it an ideal site for clandestine activity, leading to its name becoming a cultural shorthand for the government secrecy regarding extraterrestrial life and technology. Although its existence was officially acknowledged by the CIA in 2013 following a Freedom of Information Act request, much of what happens at Area 51 does remain classified, fueling, of course, ongoing public fascination and speculation. Now, the relationship between Nellis Air Force Base and Area 51 is often misunderstood due to the secretive nature of Area 51. While Nellis serves as a more conventional military air base with public-facing aspects like air shows, Area 51's activities are deeply cloaked in mystery, and its primary function revolving around the development and testing of experimental aircraft and weapon systems. The proximity of these facilities allows for a unique kind of synergy where advanced technologies tested in the seclusion of Area 51 can directly influence the training regimes at Nellis, ensuring that U.S. military pilots are familiar with the latest advancements in aviation technology. Now, Nellis Air Force Base and the adjacent Area 51 have long been focal points for conspiracy theories, like I said, largely due to their association with the classified military projects and the aura of the secrecy surrounding them. Again, one of the most enduring memories involves the UFOs and extraterrestrial technology, and the theory gained traction in 1950 when the U-2 spy plane was tested in Area 51, leading to an increased sighting of unidentified flying objects due to the plane's high altitude capability. This was compounded by the claims of individuals like Bob Lazar, who in the late 1980s alleged he worked on reverse engineering alien space aircraft at a site near Area 51, fueling, of course, speculation about government cover-ups of extraterrestrial encounters or technology. Beyond UFOs, other conspiracy theories suggest that Area 51 and facilities within Nellis Air Force Base are involved in a range of secretive activities, from the development of exotic weapons to the study of time travel, or even the housing of otherworldly beings and all kinds of different things. Now, the secretive nature of these facilities, combined with declassified documents confirming the testing of spy planes like the U-2 and the A-12 Oxford, has only bolstered these theories. Now, in June of 2014, Kenny Veach shared a haunting tale in the comments of a video named Son of an Area 51 Technician. Now, if you go to look for this on YouTube, that is what the video is labeled when you start playing it. But in order to search it, it is Area 51 Technician's Son Discloses Secrets, Alternative Energy. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play you a small snippet. If Facebook doesn't absolutely have a fit, all the other platforms seem to be okay with this, being that we are doing this as an educational stream. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up real quick. But basically, what we're going to be listening to is a gentleman by the name of Paul H. Utz. He talks about his father, who did work as a high-level engineer in Area 51, and also had a what they call a Q clearance. And a Q clearance, from what I understand, is about as high as you can go when it comes to this kind of stuff. Now, the snippet, it comes from some information that Dr. Stephen M. Greer, and I know people have heard of him. He is the founder of the Disclosure Movement and one of the world's foremost authorities on UFOs and extraterrestrial intelligence. So give me just a second to get this set up for you, and we're going to listen to Paul real quick. And he's going to talk about this alternative energy that his father was working on back during the time. Turn this up just a little.
In Kwajalein Marshall Islands in the South Pacific from the age of 5 through 7th grade. My father was relocated from that military installation to Nellis Air Force Base, where he continued to serve out his career. He had always informed our family that he was an optical engineer who worked on at range 61 and range 62, which is a non-secure range north of Tonopah, Nevada. My father would leave every morning at about 4:30, 4:45, and come home very late at night, about 7:30, 8 o'clock. First of all, he would leave at the airport. We lived very close to the airport, very close to where Wayne Newton lives in that area of Las Vegas. And he would get on a 737 aircraft. It was unmarked. It did not have any identification numbers on it. There was a number of them, maybe 5 or 6 aircraft in the fleet. And he would leave on this aircraft every morning. From Las Vegas to Area 51, which is also known as Dreamland. My father basically very conservative. I was raised a Republican. Was very active in the LDS church growing up. This whole story really begins when after he retired, and this was in 1993. I was working in an export business and was going back and forth between San Francisco area and Munich, Germany. And my father and I hooked up over there. And it was one of the first times that I really ever had the opportunity to interact with him and to converse with him. And we sat in a beer garden in Munich, and he basically had been withholding a tremendous amount of truths. And he had come to a point where he wanted to share with me a little bit more about himself and who he was, because he felt that he had neglected me growing up, and um, he had told me that he'd worked at a secure installation. And as I queried him further, um, he talked about that he was given different technologies that were given from universities. That's what his explanation was, and that he and his team were to recreate the technologies or adapt them in certain ways. The project that he had worked on, he had been working on it for a number of years, like 5 or 6 or 7 years, and it concluded when they had tested a device that was supposed to be a new type of energy source direction, um, and they had taken it out into the range, um, and it had literally blown up when they tried to activate it, tried to turn it on. One of the things that he found interesting was that it had a lot of organic composition within the material structure. And
Okay, so I hope you guys were able to hear that well. It sounded good on my end. Definitely let me know if there were any problems so that way I can go back and double check after the stream, see what's going on. But anyway, so basically what I found fascinating about this was the fact that they seem to be working on some sort of alternative energy that encompassed a lot of organic material, much like our bodies. So basically, if you think about it, like is our brain like a little alien, and we're actually UFOs? But I know that's kind of silly, but and it reminds me of the movie. What was it? Don't Look Up, about the space alien ship or what have you, that was very organic in a lot of ways. So I really found that kind of fascinating, but that kind of tells you kind of some of the things that they were testing, in these areas. It just I don't know, it kind of adds kind of a whole different spookiness uh to the fact that Kenny Beach just disappeared. I mean, yes, there probably are some explanations, um, but I find that fascinating. I just find it really fascinating. So let's go ahead and get to the comments real quick, and then we're going to get back into this. I see quite a few over here. So let's see who all we have. All right. So Roots Bleed Res is over on X. Good. I can see it is actually showing me the comments over here. So that's very good. I am so glad about that. And then let's see, we have Pogo, and he says, "Good day, Odd Mother. Hello, I am so glad to see you. Hope you were doing well." And he's saying he's just stopping by to say hello. Uh, they are visiting friends and drinking. Well, have a great time. Have a great time. And then we have, let's see, Chris. Hello, Chris. How are you? So glad to have you here. I hope you enjoy this. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get back into this. All right. So we listened to what Paul was talking about as far as some of the items that his father had been working on over in Area 51. Now, again, he recounted his discovery. He recounted discovering. Oh, okay, sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. So let's get back to Kenny Veach. So in his video, which or his audio, which I'm going to play here in just a moment, he does recount discovering a concealed cave close to Nellis Air Force Base, situated just south of the notorious Area 51. Now, the cave that Kenny found, this cave's entrance was distinctively shaped in what he described as a flawless M. Now, as he approached the cave, uh, Kenny Veach alleged he experienced strange vibrations resonating through his body, accompanied by some sort of just really inexplicable dread. It really terrified him from what he explains. And I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is play the audio on that. Um, but one of the things, if you're talking about like some of the things that they experimented in this area, there are a lot of weapons that could actually give your body those kinds of sensations, such as sonic and ultrasonic weapons, often referred to as USWs. They are weapons of various types that use sound to injure or incapacitate an opponent. Now, some sonic weapons make a focused beam of sound, or what they refer to as ultrasound, while others produce an area field of sound. As of 2023, the military and police forces do make some limited use of sonic weapons. So let's go ahead. Let me get back over here to the audio area, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to play basically Kenny Veach describing his day out on a hike, and that basically a cave that he came upon. Um, he is near an old mine shaft, and that will play some significance as we go deeper into the story and the disappearance of Kenny Veach. And this is, from what I understand, one of the last like exploration or hiking videos that he made before his disappearance. There's a couple of other ones, and I think they really more revolve around his inventions that did come out a little bit later. But from my understanding, this is one of the last ones that he posted on YouTube before he disappeared. He went missing. So.
Well, here I am on my hike up here in the mountains north of Las Vegas. This is the this is a canyon I just walked up in. Now, you can't tell, but my truck is way out there by the mountains at the very end of this valley, kind of like a big canyon. On the other side of these mountains, I'll show you in a second, are is the bombing range, the Nellis Air Force bombing range. They do a lot of practice stuff out there. This is an old mine, and there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then the last time I came up here, I hiked up to the top of what they call Gas Peak, and I spent the night. It was a 2-day hike, and then I hiked all the way down to another valley over here and went past this mountain range you see on my right, all the way back out to the flat desert. Now, the camera doesn't pick this up very well, but it's a long way. And I just romp around out here, do some solo hikes, and have some fun. My mission today is to just do a 1-day hike. It's about 10-hour hike. I got to still go over another ridge and then go all the way down a big crevice. It's real narrow and gets kind of scary. And I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before. And something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday. And I talked to some people on YouTube, and I told them, hey, I'm coming out here, you know, because they kind of called my hand on it. So I don't know if there's going to be anything to it, but it might be interesting. If I can find it, I got to relocate it. And this is a big mountain range I'm in. And I'm on foot. You know, my truck's way out there. There's no roads. There's no trails. It's a pretty rough terrain. So hopefully I'll find it. It's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M. And it's about as tall as I am and kind of narrow. And it's stuck on the side of a mountain. So I hope I can find it again. And if I do, I'm going in there. I'm going to put on my light, and take my gun out, and walk in there, see if I find anything. We'll see. I'm going to take the camera, show you how deep this hole is, and kind of show you.
All right. So that's, you know, kind of, I don't know, kind of ominous last words, so to speak. But yeah, so that was his intention on the day or the hike that he went disappearing, was to find that cave. Now, after Kenny Veach posted about his chilling M cave experience, a number of YouTube users responded with interest, encouraging him to return to the cave, asking that he document the hike, and provide really video evidence of his strange discovery, because there are a lot of mines um, out in this area. Normally, from what I understand, anytime a mine is decommissioned, um, whether it's a privately owned mine or a company mine, it's supposed to be blasted so that people can't basically get lost and down in those. But that doesn't always happen. There's a lot of pocket caves, what they call pocket caves, um, in this area, which they look like caves. They look like what Kenny Veach, described, deep and dark. And then it's just it's a play of shadows. That a lot of times they're no more than maybe a foot or two deep. So whether this cave existed or not is really up to debate, because no one has yet to find it. So on October 14th, armed with a 9mm handgun, Kenny Veach attempted to find the M Cave again. However, in a video titled M Cave Hike, posted on October 18th, he admitted that he was unable to basically relocate the cave. And I quote, "I found a tarantula and a tortoise and a ram, but I could not find the cave." Now, he wrote that on social media. Disappointed YouTubers flooded the comment sections, criticizing Veach for not providing his original claim, or basically proving his claim. Many of them pushed Veach to go on, uh, basically to do another journey to find that M cave. But one comment in particular stood out, and I quote, "No, do not go back there," the user wrote. "If you find that cave entrance, don't go in. You won't get out." Unfortunately, though, Veach didn't heed this ominous warning. In another comment, Veach added, and I quote, "I have been doing this sort of thing for over 20 years. I go where no one goes, and I never take anyone with me. I find skulls of all shapes and sizes, and occasionally I find an really old animal trap. I hike over mountaintops after mountaintop, and I sleep on the peaks under the stars. Sometimes I have to scale giant cliffs to get myself out of a jam, but I always make it back. I'm beat up and I'm tired, and my pack is almost always heavier than when I left. I had to be rescued only one time by a helicopter. I had blown out my left leg at the top of the mountain, and I only had a cup of water left to get me 20 miles back to my truck. It was also over 100 degrees outside. So I have a very good safety record." Now, I will say that is one thing that Kenny Veach, if you listen to any of his videos, he talks a lot about that, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier about, don't, if you're going in places like this, don't take the chance and not take items that can help you enjoy what you're doing safely, such as a GPS in case you get lost, a compass, some maps. He would also often brag about really pushing it. Like, yes, he would have water, yes, he would have food, but hold on just a second. But he would push it until he absolutely needed water or absolutely needed food. And even though a lot of the hikes that he went on weren't during the really, really hot parts of the summer, like for instance, when he went missing, the weather for the 5 day weather was, I mean, it was very moderate. It was, somewhere between like 49 degrees in the morning to the highs reaching maybe 83, something along those lines. And there was also no rain in the forecast for that week. So, there wouldn't have been any concern with like flash floods or anything like that. But the point I'm getting to is that, in cases like this, especially in dry, arid areas, you can often become dehydrated before you even realize it. Um, and your body is like any other machine, and if you don't treat it correctly, it's going to eventually break down. And you definitely don't want that happening when you're 30 miles from anybody, and nobody knows how to find you because you don't have a GPS. So he was. I'm not meaning. I'm not in any way criticizing him as a victim. I'm just saying that personally, I don't think that that was a very good idea. So, now on November 10th, Kenny Veach set out for yet another trek into the desert, heading towards Sheep Mountains, or the Sheep Mountains, sorry. He informed his family and friends that he intended to come back the following day. He never did. Now, there are some other records stating that he was going to be going on like a 3 day hike. And then after the 3 day hike, he just, he never showed back up. So there is a little bit of disagreement there. But basically, he went out for a hike and he never came back. Now, when Kenny Beach failed to return after the hike, um, his girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim, alerted authorities about his disappearance. A search operation was then initiated for Veach on basically the next day, but it was during November of 2014. And again, it was just one day after he was reported missing. Following his disappearance, search and rescue teams scoured an abandoned vertical mine shaft, which Veach had showcased in one of his last videos, which was that mine that he was at and that he spoke about just a little bit before I cut off the audio. That was the mine where they found his cell phone. And at first, I was thinking, well, he loved to take pictures and things along those lines. And I know that day he did not have his camera, but he did have his phone. And so I was like, well, maybe, he bent over the shaft to take a picture and the phone fell out of his hand, something along those lines. But then the more I started kind of looking into this, the condition of the phone was pristine. Um, the distance that the phone would have fallen would have very likely probably cracked it or cracked the screen. And basically, from what I'm also understanding, search and rescue seemed to think it was almost like it was put there. Um, so anyway, getting back to it. So inside this mine shaft, they did discover a cell phone. Meanwhile, his vehicle was located several miles away from that particular site. Now, Dave Cummings, who was the commander of Red Rock Search and Rescue in Las Vegas, commented on the findings, stating, "We found his cell phone close to a very vertical old mine shaft, and we can't find another trail. It doesn't mean that he's down the mine shaft, but we have tracked him as far as we can. We are having other crews come in from the search areas." So basically, they were searching the areas. They're going to get some people in there to search the mine. It turns out that the mine was decommissioned properly. So once they get people to go down into the mine, it really doesn't go that far back before it's basically collapsed. And if you look at it, you can tell it's a very, 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 very old collapse. It's not something that he could have gone back in there and then it collapsed. It looked like it had been there for quite a while. So as the trail had gone cold, then a user introducing herself um, as Veach's girlfriend, which of course was Sharon Pilgrim, she left a comment on his M Cave hike video. And I quote, "I am the girlfriend that Kenny spoke of in the video. Here are there are so many posts. I had no idea until a friend let me know. So many people are wondering what happened and guessing different things. You are heartfelt about the sadness around what has happened with Kenny. He has not been found, and I feel that he probably will not be found for many, many months, if ever. I want to share what I know and feel about what happened so that you might bring some closure and understanding in your own lives. Kenny absolutely loved hiking the desert. It was his very, very favorite thing to do. He hiked and camped together all over, or we hiked and camped together all over the Nevada desert, sometimes 9 hours in a day. We found many abandoned mining towns, usually referred to as ghost towns, by the Nevada hikers. We explored many caves and mine shafts. We were always careful how we explored them, but Kenny was a bit more daring than I was. We wore snake guards, sun protected clothing, used walking sticks, brought enough water and food for the hike, and had extra water and food in the car. I want you to know that I do not think that Kenny had an accident. I believe that he committed suicide. He battled depression for many years and would not take medication or see a doctor. He quit his job a little more than a year before his disappearance. The search for him was started within a couple of days of my call. Over 30 search and rescue team members searched 3 different times on foot. One helicopter flying over has done. One helicopter flyover has done, and there was no trace of Kenny or any of his camping things. They found his car in the area I told them it would be. They did find his cell phone by the mine shaft in the video. The mine shaft was only about a 4 hour hike from the car. It is my feeling he left it behind so that he could not be tracked from his GPS. He also did not take his video camera with him on this solo hike. It was left at home. So he had no intention of filming anything. Now, she did add, I share this with you for 2 reasons. First, so that you have more of an understanding who Kenny was and to bring some peace or understanding to the situation. Secondly, if any of you do decide to go into our desert to look for him or the M cave, be careful, bring enough water and food. Walking sticks are a good idea, and not doing a solo hike. Bring a GPS and make sure that you have let family or friends know that you are heading out for the hike and where and when you will be returning. A search really can't be on a 1 day hike. Basically, what she's referring to is the cave. Just getting up the mountain and then be left with not many hours in the day to do the search. You would need 2 or 3 days at a time in the summer or even late spring. This cannot be done because of the heat of the desert. So basically, what she's saying is don't do it in the summer or late spring because it's just basically way too hot. You would, and she's stating you would not be able to carry enough water, basically. So please, please be careful. I had many wonderful experiences with Kenny and will always remember them and have a place of love in my heart for him and the wonderful things we did together. I am healing from my loss and look forward to new experiences with desert hiking, camping, and taking beautiful pictures of our desert. Enjoy your adventures of life, and thank you for the kind, loving comments sent my way. So, had Kenny Veach died by suicide, or was there something else at play? Now, we're going to get into that here in just a moment. I'm just going to go through the comments real quick, and then we're going to take a really short midway break, and then we'll be right back. So, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. So, Roots Bleed Red says, "Whoa, yeah." And then they also say, hold on, that they believe her. They believe the girlfriend. So, so if you'll bear with me just a second, we'll be right back, and then we'll get right back into this.
This fall, prepare to enter a realm of terror.
This forest is creepy. I'm scared. Are you sure we're going the right way?
Where shadows dance and whispers haunt the night.
Come on, it's just some spooky old woods.
Did you hear about what happened to those kids last year?
Let's not talk about that. It creeps me out.
But once you enter, there's no turning back.
All right, and we're back. So yeah, so you know, there's a lot of people that do. They do believe that he went out there and he just basically decided to unalive himself. And and there's some, if you watch some of like the invention videos that he does, it does seem in some of these that there would be an argument that maybe he was bipolar. Maybe he, because a lot of them seem very manic, if that makes sense, like super excited. And so maybe he hit a down, maybe he hit a down, episode or something. And, being that people were pushing him to go out and find this cave, maybe he just couldn't. Um, Maybe from the fact that he did not hydrate the way that he should. Maybe it was a hallucination. Uh, again, it could have been a pocket cave. It could have wound up being just an abandoned mine shaft that didn't go in very far. Or it could have been something else. So far, nobody has found this cave. And there are a lot of people that are looking for the cave. On the other hand, you know, um, going back to a lot of the information, and again, I'm going to refer to the stream that we did on the Pacific Coast Trail. You can become a victim of the elements or predators, and you can, in desert situations and heavily forested, especially old growth forests, you can practically be right there and people just cannot see you. And I know some of the videos that I watched on some of the other YouTubers that were searching for this cave and searching for Kenny, just the shadows that play on the rocks and the mountains and the valleys and some of the different you know things out there. It's just constant shadows. So I could see how it would be very easy that someone could be right there and you just would not see them. Now, the reason I'm saying kind of a victim of misadventure, now Veach did have a reputation for being a bit daring during his hikes. He was known to engage in risky behavior, like playing with rattlesnakes for fun. In fact, he had been bitten once and wound up having to spend quite a few days in the hospital, um, with them pumping anti-venom into him because of that. Now, his usual practice was to venture on extended solo expeditions into the desert, where he would explore caves and forsaken mine shafts in regions where his phone really could not get any type of signal. It is said he traveled without a map or a compass, and his provisions of food and water were scant. And he does often refer to that in some of his videos. Now, given his fearless approach, some also speculate that Veach may have lost his way or suffered an injury. He could have well have been bitten by a snake, um, and eventually basically succumbed to either dehydration or hypothermia, things along those lines. Now, another possibility is an unfortunate meeting with wildlife. The Mojave Desert hosts creatures, again, like rattlesnakes, mountain lions, and coyotes, any of which could have led to a fatal encounter, especially if he may have been injured. Um, Veach could simply have died of exposure or fallen down a mine shaft, or he could have even been victim of foul play. You still run into what they call desert hermits in places like this. You run into deals that you're not supposed to see. You run into cartels. There are so many things that you could run into because of just basically the place being so desolate. Now, another perspective offered by theorists implies that the M cave might actually serve as an entryway into a clandestine government installation, such as an air shaft, or it could be what they call doom towns. Doom towns were, again, in the videos that you watch from what was like the 1950s, where they're doing the nuclear tests, and they have the houses and they have the mannequins. Um, those are referred to as Doomtown. Um, there has also been speculation that there could be Doomtowns that are underground, because there were a lot of nuclear tests that were done underground. So could the M cave be something like that? Could it be a back door into a facility? Until it's found, nobody's going to know. Now, given its proximity to Nellis Air Force Base and the notorious Area 51, there is speculation among conspiracy circles that Veach may have also inadvertently discovered a sensitive government operation leading to the disappearance as a measurement to maintain secrecy. Additionally, there are claims within these circles suggesting that Veach vanishing could be linked even to extraterrestrial encounters. That I would think would probably be the least of your worries, but you never know. Until he's found, we won't know. Then again, as hinted by his girlfriend, Veach may have taken his own life. Sharon Pilgrim expressed on YouTube her belief that he deliberately left his cell phone behind in that shaft, that mine shaft, basically to prevent anyone from tracing him. And I've also heard people say that there was like pocket change that was down in the mine shaft, and that got me to thinking he could have just cleaned out his pockets and just decided to walk into the desert. Or something more notorious could have happened to him, and that somebody else could have put the phone there. There's just all kinds of theories that go along with his disappearance. Now, she did add that, she found it unusual that he had left his camera for that particular journey, basically stating that he was going to find the M cave. But like she also referred to, in order to do the type of search that he was wanting to do, you really would need 2 to 3 days. And some places suggest, or in some places that you read, that he was in fact on a 2 to 3 day journey. So I don't know. You can make up your own mind on that. Suggesting that he had no intention of filming anything, possibly indicating deeper personal intentions. Now, regrettably, there has been no sign of Kenny Veach's body, nor has there been any contact from him for decades now. There has been no activity on his credit cards. There's been no activity in his bank. He has simply disappeared. Whether his fate involved an alien abduction or a tragic end in the vast expanse of Nevada's desert, the enigma of his disappearance continues to puzzle and intrigue people. So basically, that's the story of the mysterious disappearance of Kenny Veach and the M Trail, or the M Cave. And again, guys, hiking's fun. Just be safe if you're going into places like this. So let's go to the comments real quick. If you are a patron, we are going to be having a patron extended episode after this, so you can be joining me over there. We've got some pretty cool little stories we're going to go over. I think that you'll find fun. You'll find fun, and of course, they have to do with horror, so I think you'll enjoy that. So let's just see what we've got going on in the comments real quick, and then I'm going to say pleasant nightmares to you guys. All right, so see you guys, any of our patron members over there in Patron here shortly. Bye, guys.
Thank you.